Jesus Freak here. Took a lot to get me out of bed this morning. Just didn't feel like it. I just stayed up till I just crashed out, and then woke up like 6-8 hours later with the cat getting on my case. I had been thinking some time. I was like, wouldn't it be funny to have a bunch of, kids' books on a shelf or something? And, instead of being cheaply manufactured, I've shown you that copy of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I can't remember if it was a 64 edition or a 73 edition. I think it was 73. But all the glue had rotted out. And even though the cover was hardback, it was just pages glued to the spine. I said, wouldn't it be nice to have a bunch of kids' books that were well built, prep up the pages and signatures, and although that might be about a trick, I could do it. Then take the signatures, sew them together, and put leather covers on them, make them look nice and fancy. Would it be a waste of money? Sure, but it'd be glorious. And I was like, it would be just so funny to have, like, Mark Twain and Lewis Carroll in leather-bound books, Why? Because it's funny! Just, because there's just something about it that appeals to the geek in me. And I'm sure there's other people there, out there, they might not be Bible freaks like me. They might not be Jesus freaks like me, or like probably a lot of you. But they just see the humor in having a bunch of kids' books built like tanks. And I'm like, this whole time since I had seen this, and I'm like, I suspected as much. I mean, even on the expensive end of cheap, this still just building the books as cheap as they can and slapping a hard cover on them. So it becomes, how do I create a decent copy of the book?
Wait.
And that's where, of course, it all starts becoming about a trick. Because a lot of these older books, if you're going to find them at all, they're not going to be well scanned or whatever. If you got illustrations or something, they're going to look like mud. And that's been actually a lot of the big trouble that I've wanted to create my own text blocks. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to include the original illustrations, I'm going to have to try to do something with them. I tried upscaling the images I found somewhere from Tom Sawyer, and the tool I used made absolute mud out of it. So I'm probably going to have to try to, remaster them by hand, and that's going to be a pain in the neck. I'm like, I just think it'd be funny. Have a bunch of books made like that. Just to appeal to the geek. And the eternal kid that is in it. Anyway, I'm only mainly out and about because on Saturday I ran myself out of pops. Go figure. Go get some cheap pop over to Walgreens. Jesus, freak out.